Junior sister apprentice, Xiao, it's time. Junior sister apprentice, Xiao, it's time. Don't blame me for not reminding you. It's best if you come out quickly, otherwise. At this moment, Li Yuanba took a step out of the hall, the furious lightning in his hands directly striking down, as he shouted, "What else do you want?" Bam! The disciple had reacted quickly enough, but he was still unable to dodge the attack. Half of his body was immediately smashed into the ground by Li Yuanba. Blood spurted out from the top of his head as he said in astonishment, "Your injuries, your injuries." Long Sanfeng coldly said, "Kill." Bam! Li Yuanba smashed down with his hammer. "Headshot, instant kill." Long Sanfeng slightly said, "We pretended to be injured and took them by surprise. Remember, you four must cooperate quickly. This time, we must definitely not let Hong Tianjun have another chance to retaliate. You understand?" The four nodded their heads heavily. After resting for a few minutes, all the people of Long family walked towards the wedding courtyard. The auspicious hour had arrived, and the wedding ceremony had begun. "Here's the groom," a husband called out, causing all the guests in the courtyard to stand up. No one had a smile on their face. Even Sidhu Hao had to feign a brilliant smile. The Heaven sect was no longer something that Nantian's sect could go against. If he did not make a choice today, Nantian's sect would probably be annihilated tomorrow. The War King was too strong. The realm of the vein of ancient First Emperor S. War King was even more powerful. His last bit of ambition had been shattered. At this moment, Hong Tianjun walked out from the side while wearing the groom's uniform. He did not have much expression on his face, but his eyes were filled with contempt, and the demonic aura in his eyes was even stronger. Compared to the morning, the devil in his heart became even stronger. Li Yuanba and the others forced him out. "The groom is so handsome." Being able to marry the #1 genius of the South Horizon region is a blessing for the 8 generations of the Lu family to cultivate. I wish I had a daughter. Elder Lu might be the vice sect leader of the Heaven sect in the future. So enviable. Envy and discussion sounded in the courtyard. However, Lu Ming's face showed a bitter smile. Ever since he was young, he had told his daughter that his future husband was Hong Tianjun, and it was as if they had always been married together. Yet today, he did not want his daughter to marry Hong Tianjun because Hong Tianjun was no longer the Hong Tianjun of the past. However, it was not something he could stop now. Hong Wanta sat in the hall, his face flushed red, the smile on his face never disappearing, looking at the sect masters in the courtyard. He was extremely pleased in his heart. From today onwards, they are all my Heaven sect's disciples. Ha! At this moment, the wedding host howled again, "Invite the bride." As soon as his voice faded, on the other side, with the support of 2 maids, Lu Luoshi called out, dressed in red and with a large hood on his head. He slowly walked towards the hall. "Senior sister." Below the stage, Yi Zian shouted out. Before she could say anything else, she was pulled down by Elder Yi. He glared and said, "Do you want your father's life?" Yi Zian clenched her teeth and began to cry bitterly. Under the hood, Lu Luoshi was also in tears. Eldest senior sister, Xiao Tian also shouted loudly, but was stopped by Elder Xiao, and he shouted, "Lu Luoshi did not even resist himself. So what's the use of resisting? Behave yourself." Now that the situation had developed, it could no longer be changed. The Long family was so powerful, and he could not change it. So what could they, mere little intersect elders, change? Xiao Tian also cried. Lu Luoshi was brought to Hong Tianjuan's side. The maid placed Lu Luoshi's hand on Hong Tianjuan's hand and bowed slightly before retreating. Hong Tianjun drew closer, took in a deep breath, and said, "It's so fragrant." Lu Luoshi's body trembled. Hong Tianjun went further and leaned next to Lu Luoshi's ear and said coldly, Long Fei still hasn't appeared. He, this trash, won't appear. Just give up on that thought of yours. Ha ha ha. Hong Tianjun started to unrestrainedly sneer. Then, Hong Tianjun said again, Don't worry. Tonight I will definitely cherish you well. I will make you want to die. And from now on, you will also become my plaything. Ha ha ha. Lu Luoshi's body trembled even more violently. Tears ran down her chin. She had always been strong, always trying to calm herself down and not be afraid. Even the moment martial arts arena knelt down, she hoped that Long Fei would not appear again. But now her heart was breaking down, and she was crying inside. Heartbreaking. She was like a little girl who had fallen into a dark abyss. She sat on the ground and cried out loud, Long Fei, come and save me. Long Fei, come and save me. I don't want to marry him. I don't want to. I don't want to. Tears welled up in his eyes. However, but she did not dare to say it out loud, because the lives of her father and the rest of the Long family were in Hong Tianjun's hands. When Hong Tianjun saw Lu Luoshi, who was crying under the veil, he laughed even more joyously and said, This must feel really good, right? Ha ha ha. You'll feel even better in the future. At this moment, the elder spoke in a low voice, Young master, it's about time. Hong Tianjun nodded and said, I understand. And then Hong Tianjun smiled sinisterly at Lu Luoshi. After paying your respects, you are my Hong Tianjun's woman. The Long Fei you're waiting for won't come. I stepped on his guts in the Fireglass City. That piece of trash doesn't dare to appear. The elder cleared his throat. He said loudly, As usual, for the sake of more blessings, the wedding will start soon. I would like to ask, is there anyone who objects to this marriage? Ha ha ha. Elder Wang, are you joking? This is the greatest joyous occasion in our South Horizon region. Who would object? Exactly. What are you saying? Hurry up and pay respects. We're all drunk. All the sect heads in the yard said loudly, Objection? Whoever ate the bare heart, leopard had more or less guts, wasn't objecting courting death. Who would dare to challenge the Heaven sect now? Nantion's sect. It was not enough for Hong Tianjun. Yi Zian was firmly held down by her father. Xiao Tiantian was the same. Their mouths were covered. They wanted to stand up and object, but presided elders smiled faintly and said, Since no one objects, at this moment, Long Sanfeng's voice shook, and she said, I object. Li Yuanba walked over and said, Me too disagree. I object. I object. Everyone from the Long family stood up and said loudly. At this moment, Xianjian's sect master could not control himself either. Elder Gentlewater stood up and said, I object. Yuan Ling stood up. I object. HTTP // Nyodahai also stood up and said, I object. You're so ugly and want to get married. Your father has never told you, look in the mirror and see how ugly he is. A disciple whose body was covered in blood ran in panic. It was also at this time. A loud voice came from the sky. I object. Chapter 28_8419/2356852. As soon as his voice fell, it exploded in the minds of everyone present. As soon as his voice fell, it exploded in the minds of everyone present. The entire courtyard suddenly quieted down. Xiao Tiantian thought this voice was very familiar. Yi Zian was also thinking in her heart, where did she hear such a voice? Long Sanfeng's brows twitched. Li Yuanba grinned foolishly. Yuan Ling thought in his heart, is it him? Is it him? Jojo was overjoyed. She instantly recognized the voice. Lu Luoshi's body trembled. He suddenly turned and looked at the courtyard, and could not help but say, "Long Fei." It was also at this time. The entire audience was in an uproar as they looked at Xianjian's sect. Looking at the injured Long family, he mocked in his heart, "These people are really reckless." He's simply courting death. Hong Tianjun spared their lives, but didn't cherish it much, and even came to throw away their lives. Today, I finally know what it means to be tired of living. At the same time, many people looked at that heaven sect disciple who was covered in blood. It was also at this time. A black shadow descended from the sky. Boom! He landed in the yard with a head in his hands. The great elder of the sky sect, Dongfang Hai, Long Fei threw it into the hall, coldly laughed, and said, "I disagree." The host was rather frightened, but he still reacted naturally. "On what grounds are you objecting?" Long Fei did not say a word as he walked with large strides to the hall. Everyone looked at him, but no one responded. They all wanted to know what he was trying to do. Moreover, many people were puzzled. Who was this person? Long Fei walked to the great hall and did not even glance at Hong Tianjun. Instead, he walked to Lu Luoshi's side and gently lifted the cover on Lu Luoshi's head, looking at her trembling eyes. At this moment, Long Fei hugged Lu Luoshi's bite with one hand and fiercely kissed him. Her mouth instantly moved towards Lu Luoshi's trembling lips and kissed them heavily. Lu Luoshi's pupils enlarged. At the same time, naturally, she was also quarreling slightly, and her cheeks flushed red involuntarily. However, Lu Luoshi kept on leaning back as Long Fei kept on moving forward. No matter how Lu Luoshi struggled, he could not avoid Long Fei's mouth. A kiss, domineering. He was arrogant and unbridled. All the people in the courtyard stood up with a swoosh. Everyone's gaze was frozen, and their brains had been short-circuited. Everyone was dumbfounded. What was going on? Even Hong Tianjun was stunned. Hong Wantu's gaze was the same. "I can't do it anymore. My brain isn't strong enough, so I can't do it anymore. Too cool. He's too handsome." Xiao Tiantian's hands moved his cheeks. He was so excited that tears streamed down his cheeks. So handsome that it fell to the ground. "Long Fei, you're too damn handsome." Yi Zian was also so excited that tears started to roll down her cheeks. "Boss is mighty." Li Yuanba was extremely excited. The energy in his body was bursting forth, stronger than ever before. "Boss is indeed domineering." Lin Yusheng could not help but say. Jojo giggled. "Young master is too handsome." The leopard girl also laughed slyly. "Big brother Long Fei is so sharp." Long Sanfeng was all smiles as he said, "Good boy." Everyone was excited. The moment Long Fei appeared, they all held their breaths. At the same time, they made up their minds. At the same time, it also caused the energy in their bodies to become incomparably strong. His battle lust reached its peak. Finally, someone reacted and shouted, "Who the fuck are you?" "Yeah, who is he?" "So arrogant to dare to kiss Hong Tianjuan's fiancée in front of so many people. Even if he had 10,000 lives, it wouldn't be enough." This was an extreme humiliation for any man. Hong Wanta's voice sank, and he bellowed, "You dog, I think you're tired of living. Men, kill him." At this moment, Hong Tianjuan's gaze darkened as his anger grew. It swelled up in an incomparable fashion, and then instantly exploded as he shouted darkly, "Long Fei, you're finally here." Die. Not waiting for him to finish, while kissing Lu Luoshi, Long Fei's right hand moved and pointed at Hong Tianjuan's nose with his index finger, as if to say, "Don't disturb this daddy's kiss." Lu Luoshi's body turned soft, and her breathing also became hurried. His throat was roaring. "Long Fei, there's still someone left. Now is not the time, Long Fei? The color of her cheeks was so red that it could drip water. It was incomparably tempting. However, her words could not be said at all because her tongue had already been bound by Long Fei. Ah! Hong Tianjun was incomparably furious. He knew that Lu Luoshi liked Long Fei, but he wanted to snatch it away. Even if he did not like Lu Luoshi, he wanted to snatch it away as well. The moment kneeled in front of Fireglass City, he became extremely furious. The kneeling he did in the afternoon at the martial arts practice grounds caused his rage to skyrocket, even causing his inner demon to become several times stronger. Now, Long Fei forced a kiss on Lu Luoshi's face. One must know that Lu Luoshi was his fiancé. His fiancé. He was brought to the wedding with a green hat. This was not only an extraordinary humiliation, it was also a trampling on his dignity. The rage continued to grow. The disciples of the Heaven sect rushed into the courtyard like a tide. The sect heads in the courtyard were still dumbfounded. Ah! Hong Tianjun roared in fury, once again as his palms moved, slashing towards Xiang Longfei. Long Fei, be careful! Boss, be careful! Xiao Fei. Such a short distance. Who in the War King could possibly block it? The distance was too short, and the speed was too fast. It was something that could not be stopped. Hong Wanta grinned. Prepare to die? Lu Luoshi watched as Hong Tianjuan's palm struck down. She was struggling frantically, staring at the back of Long Fei and moaning. Long Fei, behind. Hong Tianjun attacked Long Fei. But Long Fei was calm. Her eyes looked at Lu Luoshi as if saying, "Don't worry." Just as Hong Tianjuan's palm descended, Long Fei opened his right hand. "Give me the blade." Shwa! The dragon's salure fell into his hands. Gravity and flames billowed, and the blade aura seemed to be overturning the heavens. Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Gravity knife!" Instantly, the saber fell down at a speed even faster than Hong Wanjue's. Rumble! Rumble! His voice shook the heavens, causing the entire Heaven sect to tremble. Countless tables and chairs in the main hall flew up into the air, and as though they had lost all gravity, the stones all flew up into the air. At this moment, floating life, table of contents, no windows, a deep pit appeared in the hall. Hong Tianjun lied inside the pit like a dead dog. His entire body was covered in blood, and he stared at the sky with a sinister look. Long Fei didn't even look at Hong Tianjun. From the moment he appeared until now, he had never once appeared. Ignore. Chapter 38_8419/2356853. One slash. It looked very ordinary, but it was a slash that could shock the world and make the ghosts cry. The profoundness of this strike would probably only be felt by Hong Tianjun, who was in the deep pit. A blade fell. An uproar broke out. All the tables and chairs in the hall lost their gravity and were suspended in the air. Even Lu Luoshi was unable to control himself and was about to float. It made his scalp tingle. Hong Tianjun smashed the ground with his blade. What's going on? Who was this person? Just what kind of power did that blade have? Why didn't I feel anything? I can't take it anymore. My heart can't take it anymore. Too strong. Hong Tianjun was too powerful. In their eyes, he was invincible. The realm of War King was definitely an unrivaled existence in the southern domain, but to be smashed to the ground by a single slash from Long Fei, his brain immediately became twisted, unable to turn back. At the same time, Li Yuanba looked up at the sky and roared in rage. That's great! Ha ha ha! The celestial spirit laughed maniacally. So cool! I've never seen such a handsome person. How can he be this handsome? My liver hurts because of him. The four great King Kong roared like they were leaking water. They had suffered too much from being crushed by Hong Tianjun in the morning, and now that Long Fei had dropped to the ground with a single strike, this kind of strength made them incredibly excited. You, Hong Tianjun, are awesome, no matter how amazing he was. Xiao Tian was so excited that he started to cry. He cried until he burst into tears and said continuously, "Too handsome, too handsome. How can I be so handsome?" However, this was only the beginning. Long Fei's lips loosened slightly. Looking at the blushing Lu Luoxi, she said gently, "I'm here. No one will dare bully you again." Lu Luoxi was drunk. The instant she was kissed by Long Fei, her body slowly melted. Looking at Long Fei's overbearing and gentle eyes, her heart instantly melted. And then Long Fei held Lu Luoxi's hand as they walked out and said slightly, "I have something I need to do now, so I'll kiss you here first and leave it for tonight." "Good girl." Lu Luoxi's face was so red that it reached his ears. He lowered his head and softly replied, and he then obediently retreated to the side, just like a happy little girl. It was also at this time Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He turned and looked at Hong Wanta, who was in the great hall, his brows knitted, and the dragon salyer in his hand trembled. Rumble! A loud sound exploded in midair, and then the hall collapsed with a loud bang. The tables and chairs that were suspended in the air also fell down, and the house was in ruins. This power! All the experts in the courtyard shivered. They all looked at Xiang Longfei. Long Fei smirked and said, "My name is Long Fei. I have only one goal in coming to the Sky Sect, to K him up. I'll only say it once, get away from strangers." His voice was calm. However, it was full of arrogance. It was also at this time. Rumble! A huge sound came from within the ruins, and Hong Wanta's voice turned angry. "Long Fei!" Long Fei turned his gaze towards the ruins, laughed coldly, and said, "Why are you calling your father?" "Ah!" Hong Wanta was extremely furious. He bellowed, "Kill them all! Kill all these people from the Long family. None of them are allowed to leave." It was also at this time Long Sanfeng shot a signal flare into the sky. Bam! At the foot of the mountain, Lonely Soul, Wild Ghost saw the signal flare in the sky. Xie said, "I'm here. The Grand Master is here. The time has come. Disciples of the Evil Sound Sect, listen up. Long Family Army command. Attack the Heaven Sect." The disciples of the Heaven Sect also started to move, madly rushing into the surroundings of the courtyard. The sect heads in the yard did not move. No one left, because, in their opinion, Long Fei could not jump up. At this moment, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. As the ruins slid down, Hong Tianjun slowly walked out of the deep pit. The devil intent in his eyes grew even stronger as he stared at the Long Fei in the courtyard, and he sneered sinisterly, "I never thought that you would actually dare to come. That's better. I want all of your Long family's people to die in front of you. I want to ruthlessly ravage Lu Luoxi in front of you." Ha ha ha. The laughter faded. The aura of the War King on Hong Tianjuan's body exploded out, and immediately the courtyard started to shake violently. Uffed, uffed. Some disciples with low cultivations were crushed to the point that their minds were shattered. In the blink of an eye, Hong Tianjun frowned, the image of an emperor appearing on his body. The emperor blood vein, the simulacrum of the first emperor. Hong Tianjun laughed sinisterly. "Long Fei, you are just like a dead dog in Fireglass City, living off a woman for a few more years. Now, If you kneel down, I will let you live like a dog for a few more years. Boom, boom. The sound was as if it exploded, and it continuously resounded in the air. Furthermore, Hong Tianjuan's body slowly flew up into the air. Li Yuanba reminded him, "Boss, be careful." Long Fei slightly said, "Yuanba, protect my grandfather and Jojo." Then, as soon as he finished, Long Fei moved, rushed, and shouted, "You like to make people kneel, right? Today, I shall let you kneel to your heart's content." Fourth level, Peerless. Buzz, with a move of his body's power, 16 times the elemental energy was released. With a heavy clench of his right hand, the black gravity knife energy on the dragon salyer began to churn. Shua. He charged straight at Hong Tianjun. Level 10, Gravity Knife. Boom. The dragon salyer, that was weighing 103,000 kilograms, suddenly seemed to want to weigh millions of kilograms. As the blade smashed down, the shadow of the dark dragon god moved. He roared. Hong Tianjuan's eyes turned sinister. Power of celestial. 3 bodies. Explode. Swish, swish, swish. Hong Tianjun rushed out with all 3 bodies, and every single one of them were real, fleshly bodies. The might of the War King. 3 layers. Crush. Hong Tianjun released the cultivation realm of War King, then fused it with the vein of ancient First Emperor in his body and unleashed 6 palms. Long Fei also slashed down. Roar. Gravity Dragon Gods, slash. Beneath the gravity knife, a blade of Hong Tianjuan's body was crushed to the point of spitting out fresh blood. Unable to resist any further, he kneeled down heavily on the ground as fresh blood sprayed wildly from his mouth. However, Hong Tianjun was an expert of the War King. With one's physical body destroyed, he still had 2 more. Moreover, S/ could only kill 1 person and not 3 bodies at the same time. The instant he was about to kill, to the left and right of him, Hong Tianjuan's palms were pressed against his waist. Falling immortal palm. Bam! Moving left and right at the same time, a beam of light burst out from the center of his palm. Long Fei was no longer in a hurry to dodge it. He did not have any defensive, holy artifact around him. However, Long Fei had never even thought of defending, so the idea sank. Yama Minamiya. The dragon salyer withdrew. His right hand held onto Hong Tianjun, and then his left fist violently swung out. Chapter 48_8419/2356854. You hit me? You hit me? I don't care. As long as you can't kill me, I will kill you. Hong Tianjuan's falling immortal palm attack power was extremely strong. When the 2 palms struck down, the 2 energies resonated within his body and rushed into his stomach. He rushed straight into his sea of consciousness. His entire body seemed about to split apart. It was extremely uncomfortable. However, Long Fei was now a level 3 sacred body. Coupled with the fusion of the giant demon heart, his physical defense had reached War King. Not dead. Then he would have to kill Hong Tianjun. Clasping Hong Tianjuan's neck would result in a violent beating, a crazy beating. Yama Minamiya's 10,000 arts punch was like lightning as it bombarded forward. It was a deadly strike, hitting the ground with all his might. Arrogant, overbearing. Your father is talking about 10,000 times more. Hong Tianjuan's head exploded from Long Fei's attack, and as he stepped on the bloodied Hong Tianjun, he looked at Hong Tianjun, who was at the other side, and roared out in an incomparably tyrannical manner, "Arrogant, your sister." His right foot shook. Boom. His body was stomped into the ground, causing it to cave in, while Long Fei took the opportunity to punch out. Hong Tianjuan's second body dead. However, the system did not reply him. Obviously, this was still not his real body. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. Long Fei was a madman. After the last of the three figures, Hong Tianjuan's gaze darkened as he let out a cold laugh and said, "Trash is trash, so what if you kill my two fake bodies?" Hong Tianjun frowned, a burst of power erupting from his body. Buzz. Buzz. The two bodies on the ground disappeared. "Idiot!" Hong Tianjun laughed in disdain. Two heavy punches, one crushing the body, but in the end, he did not even manage to injure a single hair on Hong Tianjuan's body. It was as if Long Fei had been played around with. Long Fei raised his eyes and laughed coldly. "You're an idiot, right?" Shwa. His figure disappeared. Long Fei landed in front of Hong Tianjun and grabbed his throat with one hand. Too fast. Hong Tianjuan's face sank, and a cold smile still hung on his face as he said, "Long Fei, you think you've caught me?" Power of Celestial. Hong Tianjuan's forehead shook as he let out a furious roar. Just like the immortals in the movies, their bodies changed. His body once again materialized two other bodies. However, Long Fei's hands loosened. The dragon salure was in his hands, and the god's devil blade was in his hands. Autumn water bit on his mouth and moved his body 9 knives force. Hiss. The power in his body began to burn. At this moment, Long Fei's body became 3 heads and 6 arms, a Shura gravity knife. Boom. The 9 blades were as fast as lightning, not giving Hong Tianjun a chance to create any images as they heavily slashed down. Crack, crack, crack. The saber light flashed crazily like a shadow. Hong Tianjuan's body kept on being suppressed back, unable to move at all. At this moment, Long Fei moved again. "You want to compete with your father?" Multiple shadows. Shwa. 8 figures appeared, and Long Fei stepped out, grabbing onto Hong Tianjuan's throat again. He roared out, "Hanger, isn't that a clone? Aren't you arrogant? F*CKU, show some arrogance again." With a move of his right hand, he raised Hong Tianjun up into the air and smashed him down onto the ground. "Pa, is it good?" And then, Long Fei then lifted Hong Tianjun up, and with a turn of his body, he landed behind and kicked him behind his knees. "Kneel down!" Hong Tianjun kneeled down heavily on the ground towards Lu Luoshi, the floor breaking into pieces. Long Fei slapped the back of his head and said, "Kowtow." Bam! Hong Tianjun struck the ground heavily, blood spurting out from his forehead, and his body bounced up into the air. One is not enough. Bam! Long Fei once again struck down with his palm. Bam! Bam! After 3 kowtows, Hong Tianjuan's forehead was broken, and his bun was scattered everywhere. His entire person was in an incomparably sorry state. However, Long Fei did not stop there. "Kowtow to my grandfather. Admit your wrongs." A kick. Hong Tianjun turned his body and heavily kowtowed to Long Sanfeng and the others. Bam! Bang! 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 9 kowtows. A deep crater formed on the ground, and his entire face was covered in blood. For the last time, he did not bounce back and instead smiled sinisterly from within the crater. The people from the Heaven sect were dumbfounded. The sect leaders around were also getting scared. Hong Tianjun had been completely oppressed. He didn't even have the strength to resist. How strong was Long Fei? As their hearts began to turn cold, countless people felt regret. They should have left from the beginning. So why did they stay? Immediately, one of the sect masters said slightly, "Pavilion Master Hong, I still have matters to attend to. I will be leaving first. My wife has a child, so I have to hurry back. My 80-year-old mother has given birth as well. I want to go back as well." You know me. I've been suffering from severe liver pain recently. I can't drink. I'll be leaving first. Pavilion Master Hong will come again next time. All of them wanted to leave. Hong Tianjun, who was at the War King realm, was oppressed like a dog. If they stayed any longer, the Heaven Sect would definitely die with them. Long Fei was a madman that could not be provoked. He's a madman. Thinking about how Long Fei had massacred the 7 great demon sects, they were extremely afraid and wished that they could climb out immediately. Long Fei said coldly, "Did I let you leave?" It was also at this time an elder rushed in and said, "Sect leader, the Long family's army is coming." Hong Wanta's face darkened. The faces of those sect leaders who were about to leave suddenly changed. "Long Fei, we are just here to join the clan congress. It has nothing to do with the Heaven Sect." "Long Fei, there's a point to being arrogant. We don't want to be involved in the matters of your Long family and the Chao Tian sect. Exactly, it's better if we leave." Long Fei's gaze swept across them and laughed coldly. "I have never had such an arrogant attitude before. I told you guys just now. I gave you a chance, and no one left. Do you want to leave now?" Ha ha. These 2 words, it's too late. He didn't know how to cherish the opportunity. Then don't blame Long Fei. Moreover, if Long Fei wanted to make the Long family the #1 clan in the entire South Horizon region, the sect masters of these sects must be eliminated. Long Fei was still a little short of leveling up his experience. These sect masters were all experienced. How could he let it go? One of the sect masters suddenly shouted, "Long Fei, don't be too presumptuous. Unless you want to go against all of our sects." Long Fei glared and roared, "I just like to be presumptuous. So what if I'm going against all of your sects? Come up and bite me." He roared arrogantly. It was also at this time. Wahaha! Hong Tianjun, who had been kneeling on the ground with his head buried in the deep pit, let out a burst of cold, wild laughter. Ha ha ha! At the same time he laughed, the flames on his body turned black. Strongest upgrade system. Hong Tianjun was bedevilish. The power of the demon heart explosion was completely different. In another place, Gu Wuji gave a cold laugh. "Demon heart, his strength is finally about to break through. I really have to thank this kid for that. Ha ha ha." The 5th chapter. Thank you, brothers, for your usual monthly tickets. 8_8419/2356855. Hong Tianjun kept suppressing his strength. Hong Tianjun kept suppressing his strength. The previous breakthrough in the War King was actually very incomplete. He still lacked a little bit of strength. It was the power to stimulate the inner demons. In the martial arts practice square, he suppressed his emotions and did not attempt to break through. Now, when the power of the inner demon stimulation reached its limit, he would also truly obtain the power of all the cultivators of the War King realm and break through the shackles. On this point, he had to thank Long Fei. Gu Wuji laughed with satisfaction. Now he can be considered to have truly started to learn. An elder next to him asked respectfully, "Teacher, will we destroy him like this?" Demon heart explosion. His power did indeed break through, but would he be controlled by demon heart? And if we can't control it, we... At this moment, Elder Tai stroked his goatee and said lightly, "Supreme God said, regardless of whether he is a demon, human, or ghost, as long as he is a devil slayer, it doesn't matter." Ha ha ha. Elder Tai is right, as long as he is a demon slayer. As long as he falls into the devil Tao or in the righteous way, it has nothing to do with us. Moreover, it is too easy to get rid of him. Gu Wuji smiled faintly. Tai Hong's appearance caused Gu Wuji to be overjoyed, because in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, the two of them had the closest private relationship. The other elders did not know. Tai Hong would naturally help him with all of her strength. But the one who killed the giant demon was not him. What if the supreme god knew that he was not a demon slayer? Tai Hong laughed coldly and said, "It doesn't matter if Hong Tianjun is a demon slayer or not. As long as I'm right, then it's settled. I said that he is a demon slayer, and he is a demon slayer. As for the supreme god, he can only deduce the birth of the demon slayer, and not who the demon slayer is. As long as we can bring the first demon slayer back to the immortal domain, then we will definitely be rewarded. As for whether or not Hong Tianjun is a demon slayer, that is something that will happen dozens of years later." Tai Hong said with a face full of confidence. Gu Wuji also laughed complacently and said, "Let's see him explode." However, Long family, this brat is not bad. Just that. What a pity. Unfortunately, his surname is Long. While they were talking, Gu Wuji's eyes flashed with a cold light. It was extremely cold. Hong Tianjun lied on the ground and laughed wildly, the black flames on his body also growing crazily. The devil in his body exploded. Right now, he was completely unable to suppress this surge of power. And furthermore, he didn't try to suppress it, allowing it to grow crazily. Strength. Immense strength. Hong Tianjun began to tremble with excitement as he muttered, "This is the true power of the War King realm, right?" Wahaha! Roar! The illusory dark dragon god rushed out, transforming into a shocking amount of gravity knife chi, and slashed at Hong Tianjun's neck. Rumble! 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 As if his strength had exploded into the sky, he slashed Hong Tianjun, who was in midair, down. It was a pity. He did not die. The entire courtyard turned into a pile of ruins, as Hong Tianjun kneeled in the deep pit in an incomparably sorry state. The corners of his mouth continuously spurted out black blood, and the devilish flames on his body became even more frenzied. Ha ha ha! You want to kill me? Long Fei, you are not qualified. His strength was even stronger. Demon Heart had exploded even more thoroughly. Long Fei floated in midair and stared at the Hong Tianjun in the deep pit, looking at the amount of blood on his head. The corner of his mouth curled up as he coldly laughed. "I can't kill you, right? Then you can see if I can kill you." As soon as his voice faded, Long Fei retracted his dragon salure S, and a burst of energy appeared between his eyebrows. Yuan Ba. Li Yuanba took a step forward, removed the stone coffin from his back, and said, "Understood." The sarcophagus shook. Next, another sword flew out, and another one flew out. HTTP // whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk, a total of 81 swords. Long Fei laughed coldly. Let me see how many more you can block. Holy Sword 81 moves. Fall. Chapter 18_8419/2356856. Gu Wuji's power of Celestial was just too strong. Gu Wuji's power of Celestial was just too strong. Moreover, his move just now was to kill Long Fei, because he was furious. Furthermore, it was because Long Fei was surnamed Long. Furthermore, Hong Tianjun cannot die. Hong Tianjun was the trump card in his hand, the trump card that would allow him to ascend to the position of the supreme god. Gu Wuji glanced at Hong Tianjun, then looked at Long Fei in the distance, and coldly said, "You overestimate yourself." The moment he spoke, Long Fei heavily slapped his right palm, and he stood up once again. Yama Luo's 10,000 arts was able to absorb the energy within everything to become his health point, and he could even absorb the energy within the stone. The entire audience was stunned. Even Gu Wuji's face changed. His eyes became gloomy. "He's not dead yet?" Long Fei was not afraid, and said, "If your entire family dies, your father will not die." Gu Wuji was enraged, and said coldly, "Let's see how many times you can endure it." F***CK. Long Fei burst out in vulgarities, and roared, "Come again if you dare." His mind stirred. An idea rushed into the broken 18th level of hell, and said solemnly, "Gravity Troll." The 18th floor of the infernal realm. The first floor. The tongue-drawing hell. The gravity troll's eyes suddenly opened and shouted loudly, "Master!" His voice was filled with an incomparable amount of power. Long Fei's eyes revealed arrogance, a domineering look, and said to the disappearing Gu Wuji, "Today let's see who kills who." The rage raged. So what if he was an immortal domain ranker? Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, he can forget about making Long Fei surrender. Gu Wuji uttered in the air, "You're being arrogant in front of me? Brat, you are already dead." A loud sound resounded in the sky. The sky above Long Fei cracked. A palm carrying an incredibly thick power of celestial smashed down. This palm would directly pierce through the entire Zenith province. It was too strong. The elders of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, how powerful were they? He was also a top-notch expert in the immortal domain. Not to mention, in the South Horizon region, who would be his match? There was no one here. Long Fei's body shook as he roared in his heart, "Gravity Troll!" In the blink of an eye, before Long Fei could summon his gravity troll, a black shadow flashed and welcomed the sky with a palm. Rumble! 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 A ray of light shot out, covering tens of thousands of kilometers. The sky was also filled with the unceasing rumbling of thunder. Gu Wuji's face sank, and his figure landed. "Elder E stood at Long Fei's side and said with a smile, "Elder Gu, isn't it bad to use such a thick and profound power of celestial to deal with a junior from the South Horizon region?" Tai Hong's expression slightly changed, shouted, and said, Why are you here?" "Supreme God didn't send you here, right?" Yi Shao said. "Elder Tai, is the South Horizon region your home? If it's not your house, why can't I come?" Tai Hong glared at him angrily. Gu Wuji coldly snorted and said, "Elder Yi, you better get out of the way, or else don't blame me for being impolite. Long Fei must kill. Too arrogant. No one had ever dared to be so arrogant in front of him." Yi Dao said, "Elder Gu, you are also a Fairy Hall elder. If you go against a junior like this, you might lose your identity, right? Also, what if he's a demon slayer?" Yun Xian immediately said, "The demon slayer is him. He is the true demon slayer, the one with the vein of ancient first emperor." He looked at the miserable Hong Tianjun, then looked at Long Fei and said, "If he is a demon slayer, then this little brother here is even more of a demon slayer." to be able to destroy a demon slayer. Wasn't that the same as demon slayer? Yun Xian's face sank and looked towards Gu Wuji. Gu Wuji coldly snorted. Supreme God has orders first. Since Hong Tianjun possesses the vein of ancient First Emperor, he is the first demon slayer. And Long family, this lame duck, actually wants to kill a demon slaughterer. He actually has a heavenly demon blood vein that can turn into a heavenly demon. He absolutely could not let Long Fei become a demon slayer. Once Long Fei became a demon slayer, things would not be easy. Tai Hong also followed. I have already personally verified the vein of ancient First Emperor and have seen what happened just now. The kid from Long family is unscrupulous, and his slaughter became berserk. This kind of little thief cannot be kept. Since you guys are talking about Supreme God, the Supreme God also said that everyone can become a demon slayer, be they demons or demons. Why is his heart so bad? He also saw everything. Gu Wuji stared at Yi Dao. If you want cultivation, Hong Tianjun is in War King, the #1 person in the entire South Horizon region. Talent, he is a vein of ancient First Emperor. His talent is absolute. Elder Yi, how can he compare? As a disciple of the Long family, his dragon blood activation is actually 0. Right now, he is only at War God realm. Can he be compared with Hong Tianjun? He just practices a few evil techniques. If not, how can he be a match for Hong Tianjun? He fell silent. His dragon blood activation was a hard injury. As a disciple of the Long family, his dragon blood activation was actually 0. This was indeed unjustifiable. Just based on this point alone, he was weaker than Hong Tianjun's vein of ancient First Emperor. Also, even though there was only a difference of 1 realm between the realms of level 9 War God and War King, but the difference was like heaven and earth. To break through to War King was simply too difficult. Some people would never be able to cross over in their entire lives. As soon as his voice faded, everyone looked at Long Fei. Puchi, Hong Tianjun laughed out loud first. Ha ha ha. Gu Wuji also laughed. Following that, Hong Wantu and the other sect masters all laughed. They were all ridiculing what Long Fei had just said. Is War King very strong? Fine, let me see if you can break through or not. With the protection of Gu Wuji and the others, he was no longer afraid of Long Fei. Everyone began to mock him. He really doesn't know his place. Who does he think he is? Even the ancestors of the Long family did not dare to be so arrogant. You really take yourself seriously and still say that you are in the War King realm? You actually did break through 1. He laughed loudly. Frowned. Long Fei's words were indeed too arrogant. He was indeed the lowest level of existence in the War King realm, because the cultivation method in the immortal domain and the South Horizon region were different, and the density of the spirit energy in the world was also different. However, in the South Horizon region, the War King is a peak existence. To break through to War King was simply too difficult. And furthermore, breaking through the War King realm required a bit of luck. If not, he would not be able to break through even if he had comprehended it. Gu Wuji laughed coldly. It's not difficult, but you've already broken through 1. If you can't break through, then don't be cocky here. Breaking through to War King is not something that can be done casually, and even more so not something that can be achieved just by a simple breakthrough. Long Fei looked at the people who had mocked him, and looked at the incomparably pleased Hong Tianjun, his mouth curling up as he said slightly, "What if I can break through within a minute?" As soon as he finished, the surrounding people burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Am I hearing things? To break through War King in a minute? Long Fei, aren't you being too arrogant? Long Fei, Is something wrong with your brain? I'm dying of laughter. Do you think this talent is stronger than the heavens and young noble? He also said in a low voice, Little guy, don't talk nonsense. Break through War King in a minute? How is this possible? Let alone Long Fei, who didn't have any gifted vein. Even Gu Wuji, this kind of immortal foundation elder with absolute talent, couldn't break through the War King realm in 1 minute. It was even more impossible for Long Fei. It was completely impossible. Gu Wuji was naturally clear and laughed complacently. If you can break through War King in a minute, you can do whatever you want. Long Fei said straightforwardly, I want to give you a slap in the face. The entire audience went silent. Yun Xian immediately said angrily, Brat, you're courting death. Gu Wuji's face also darkened and said coldly, But what if you haven't made a breakthrough? Long Fei laughed. I'm not done speaking. Other than slapping you, I still have his life. Long Fei moved his finger and pointed at the extremely proud Hong Tianjun. Hong Tianjun's gaze tensed up and laughed coldly. If you can break through War King in a minute, don't even mention my life. I will give you the lives of all the Heaven Sect disciples. Break through in a minute? Humph, what do you think you are? Such a strong being has never appeared in the South Horizon region. Even the ancestors of your Long family wouldn't be able to do it. Long Fei did not respond to Hong Tianjun, because Hong Tianjun's life was not in his own hands, but in Gu Wuji's. Gu Wuji said, Sure, but what if you did not break through? Long Fei said, I will die. Gu Wuji's gaze darkened, and he laughed coldly. Is your death enough? I want your Long family to be annihilated. Yi's expression changed, as he immediately said, Don't agree to his request. Gu Wuji stared at Long Fei with his sinister eyes and said, Lame duck, you don't dare? Are you scared? Ha ha ha. At this moment, Long Sanfeng stood out and said, Gamble. Li Yuanba also followed. Boss, bet with him. If you die, so be it. Everyone stood up and said, Make a bet with him. At this moment, the Long family army had already arrived at the plaza, and they could hear Gu Wuji's voice. Long Zhanhai shouted loudly, Xiao Fei, bet with him. The Long family army shouted in unison, Young master, bet with him. The people of Long family were never afraid of death. Since Long Fei had said it, the entire Long family would fully support him. So what if he died? His voice was deafening. Gu Wuji's heart shook. At the same time, his killing intent grew even stronger. He coldly laughed. I've always heard that the people from the Long family are not afraid of death. Today, I want to see how unafraid they are. Long Fei, do you dare to bet? Everyone's gaze fell on Long Fei. Break through War King in a minute. It was obviously impossible. Long Fei laughed arrogantly. There is nothing in this world that I, Long Fei, do not dare to do. Gu Wuji laughed disdainfully, then said, All right. Hong Tianjun was secretly happy. Long Fei, you're dead this time. He had broken through the War King's realm before, so he knew how difficult it was. Long Fei had to die. Long family would also be exterminated. Hong Wantu also laughed excitedly. He didn't need to worry anymore. At this moment, Gu Wuji laughed coldly and said, Begin. Yi looked at Long Fei and said, Long Fei, you're still in a rush right now. I can guarantee your safety. Long Fei looked at Yi and smiled faintly. Many thanks. I can settle the matters regarding my Long family. Finished. Long Fei turned around and glanced at the sect masters who were ridiculing him with their faces, and saw that most of them were mocking him for overestimating his own abilities. At this moment, Gu Wuji laughed. 10 seconds have passed. You only have 50 seconds left. Enough. With an arrogant sound, Long Fei clenched his right hand, and the dragon salure appeared in his hand. Shua! Long Fei's figure disappeared and landed in front of the sect masters. You laugh at me? You all are qualified. Kill. A single slash had instantly killed a sovereign. The system sounded out. Without waiting for anyone to react, Long Fei struck out frantically, one blade at a time, like an executioner. The cultivation of the sect masters were merely war emperor. In front of him, they were nothing more than radishes, with no leeway to retaliate. Smile. Keep laughing. Long Fei roared. Blood sprayed wildly from their mouths as they screamed miserably. Their faces were filled with fear. Gu Wuji did not stop him. He could not understand why Long Fei wanted to kill these ants. The system's notification rang out incessantly. His experience points was rising rapidly. At the last moment, Long Fei landed beside Hong Wantu and revealed a faint smile on the face of the Grim Reaper. Hong Wantu's body trembled, and he said, Long Fei, what are you planning to do? In that instant, Hong Wantu shouted at Gu Wuji, Master, save me. Long Fei sneered. I don't want to do anything. I just want to borrow your head for a bit. C plus Mayak plus Bic plus Pavilion C plus finished. Long Fei's body suddenly exploded with power. The three forces of darkness immediately moved, binding Hong Wantu, and with a wave of his right hand, the dragon's salure descended. The blade chopped down. Boom. Ding. Chapter 48_8419/2356859. Ah, ha, ha. Ah, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. Gu Wuji started laughing maniacally, staring at Long Sanfeng, looking at Li Yuanba, and the rest, coldly laughing. Even trash among trash wants to overturn the heavens in front of us. How laughable! How laughable! At the same time, Hong Tianjun shouted, Where are the disciples of the Heaven Sect? Here. All of the disciples and elders were startled. Hong Tianjun said, Kill all the trash, Long family. Kill, kill, kill. For a moment, the sound of fighting shook the sky as Long Zhanhai led the Long family army and crazily rushed into the courtyard. The disciples of the Sky sect threw themselves into the fray. A few sect disciples who were still alive stood on the spot, watching the Grand Master without knowing what to do. Suddenly, soft water of Xianjian sect. Kill. The three senior fellow apprentices behind her also rushed out. Niu Dahai also rushed out. The disciples of the Xianjian sect looked at them, and then looked at the Xianjian sect lord. I'm going all out. The Xianjian sect lord bellowed. All disciples listen up. Kill everyone in Heaven sect. Kill. The choice Xianjian sect made was not because of Elder Ro Shui and Nyo Dahai. It was because Long Fei had comprehended the Sword Saint's sword intent in the Sword Saint tomb. A total of 81 sword intents. This allowed Xianjian's sect to make a choice. At the same time, Situ Hao's gaze tensed up as he frantically calculated in his mind. God, Emperor, Academy, Heavenly Hall of Immortals. He clenched his teeth. Situ Hao looked at Long Sanfeng and said, "Your grandson killed my son. This matter is absolutely irreconcilable. For the South Horizon region, for our dignity. Kill." Situ Hao roared. Disciple Mantion sect, listen up. Wipe out the entire Heaven sect. He had made his choice. He had always wanted to dominate the South Horizon region, but Hong Tianjuan's emperor made him completely give up. He knew that this world was one that focused on power. Without absolute strength, it was impossible to dominate. However, Long Fei's feudal emperor caused him to be even more shocked. The ambition in his heart vanished. The reason he stood on Long Fei's side was because of what Gu Wuji had said. He would never let anyone leave the Heaven sect alive. And also, more importantly, in Gu Wuji's eyes, the warriors of the Southern Domain were trash amongst trash. These words made him extremely unhappy, as if he was being trampled on. Thus, Situ Hao made his own choice. At the same time, the other sects had also made their decisions, standing together with Long family and attacking the disciples of the Heaven sect in a frenzy. On the other side, Gu Wuji was not worried because of the sect master's decision, because in his eyes, these people were nothing more than trash within trash, inferior to even ants. Ha ha! Tai Hong took a step forward and sneered sinisterly. He stared at Yi and said, "I have always wanted to experience your Heaven's secret sword art. I finally have a chance today." In that instant, Tai Hong moved, his figure disappearing. Yi also moved, disappearing at the same time. In the sky, Wang. The two streams of light clashed unceasingly and separated continuously. Under the flowing light, the endless sword intent started to wreak havoc crazily as the power of Celestial surged with incomparable power. In the blink of an eye, over 100 moves had been exchanged. It was also at this time. Yun Xian, protect Hong Tianjun well. He can't die right now. Gu Wuji said. Yun Xian said, "Disciple obeys." Gu Wuji looked at Xiang Longfei and said with contempt, "Lame duck, it's your turn." Long Fei's heart sank. His heart was abnormally calm. He had never been so calm before. Right now, what he had to face was not just the Immortal Domain experts, but the top rankers of the Immortal Domain, the elders of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Yan Huang Ancestor released the entire power of Emperor Yan Huang. He couldn't let Long Fei die. Xiaobai could not control himself and rushed out with a roar. Ice and fire also followed closely behind. Long Fei moved and said, "The two of you protect grandfather and Jojo. You don't need to care about things here." Xiaobai said heavily, "Master, you must be careful." With that, he rushed into the fists of the chaotic heavenly sect disciples and started to madly kill them. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "You don't need that jade-faced old thing. Come, die." Gu Wuji spat out a single word coldly and shouted, "Let's see who can protect you now." 4th level, peerless. Boom. After exploding out with 16 times the strength of his attribute, Long Fei roared in his heart, "God's bone taboo." Open the second layer. Crack. Long Fei's sky demon body's bones were frantically exploding, 30-odd strange bones growing out from his body, all of them about to break out from his body. It was very painful. However, at this moment, his strength was also frantically multiplying and rolling away. Pain and excitement. Not enough, not enough. The third level. Open. Puff. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. His sky demon's body could barely withstand the power of the God's Bone taboo, so the bones immediately broke out from his body and covered his entire body. Not enough. Fourth level. Open. Boom. Long Fei was completely like a madman. The bones that grew out turned black, and his power also changed in an instant. Power of taboos. Gu Wuji's brows twitched. I never thought that you would still have the spirit demon clan's power of taboos, but this kind of power is far from enough. As soon as his voice faded, Gu Wuji disappeared and instantly landed in front of Long Fei. He said with a cold smile, "No matter how much power you have, you are still just trash of the Southern Domain. Even if you are the War King's Peak realm, you are still a piece of trash. Among the Immortal Domain S, the realm of the War King S is the weakest, and he is the with the highest cultivation in the Immortal Domain. How are you going to fight against me? Arrogant? You think you're worthy?" Gu Wuji suddenly released his power, and the powerful power of Celestial surged out, crushing Xiang Longfei heavily. Yi shouted, "Bastard, be careful!" "Young master." Jojo's face was aghast as a halo of light shot up to the sky from his body. At this moment, the other plane suddenly began to tremble. Let's not talk about the future for now. The light halos shot into the sky and sprinkled onto Long Fei's body. However, far from it, rumble. All of the black bones on Long Fei's body shattered, and a deep crater that was 100 meters in size was formed from beneath his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood, feeling incomparable discomfort. Just now, all of his strength had been used on his defense. Even with Jojo's defensive power, it was still not enough to defend against it. Gu Wuji's power was just too strong. Gu Wuji's gaze was filled with contempt, and he coldly sneered, "Lame duck, are you still so arrogant?" Long Fei slowly crawled up from the ground and wiped the blood off his mouth. He grinned and laughed. "Old fellow, look at what is behind you." An incomparably large giant demon stood behind Gu Wuji. Chapter 6, Add a chapter. Thank you for your support. Thank you. 8_8419/2356861. The giant demon from 3 million years ago. The giant demon from 3 million years ago. The 1,008 gigantic chains on him emitted the power of seal runes from the chains. On him, the thick demonic flames were like a burning flame. Powerful, extremely powerful. Long Fei used all of his strength to defend, blocking the attack. He was not instantly killed by Gu Wuji. When Gu Wuji made his move, his mind moved, and he entered the broken first level of the 18 layers of hell. Giant demon, it's your turn to go up on stage. And then Gu Wuji's body faintly trembled, his eyes slightly tilted backwards, his body slightly turned, his eyes looking upwards, his mind trembling. Sealed giant demon, he's not dead. It was also at this moment Long Fei roared, "Giant demon, kill him." Rumble. The giant demon's 2 giant eyes widened, and the light from his eyes suppressed down. Then the massive gravity from his body began to crush down like 100,000 mountains. It poured down onto the top of Gu Wuji's head. Rumble. Rumble. The heaven and earth shook. Everything on the ground lost gravity and rose up into the sky. The gravity flame that the giant demon had exploded was too violent. Gu Wuji laid within the deep pit, his buns scattered all over and blood hanging from the corner of his mouth. He was in an extremely sorry state. TL. Arrogant. An elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals can be arrogant. Long Fei took a step forward and laughed wildly. Looking at the extremely miserable Gu Wuji in the deep pit, Long Fei roared out, "Gu Wuji, is it good?" Gu Wuji's eyes were gloomy. The killing intent in his eyes had never been so dense. However, not waiting for him to fly out from the deep pit, Long Fei roared out again, "Giant demon, boom, boom." The giant demon gripped his fists together, and a muffled sound echoed in the air. It was like a battle axe had been struck deep into the ground. The power of gravity. Crack! The giant demon let out a deep roar. The gravitational aura around his body became even fiercer as it fused with his fists and smashed down at the deep pit. Rumble! Once again, he punched Gu Wuji, who had just stood up from the ground. Puff! Gu Wuji sprayed out a mouthful of fresh blood. His entire body felt like it was about to be torn apart. Again, Long Fei had to speed up. There was a time limit for the giant demons to appear, so Long Fei would do his best to make him attack crazily during this period. At this moment, the anger in Long Fei's heart did not decrease by even a little. Is Heavenly Hall of Immortals impressive? So, what if he's an immortal domain ranker? Damn it! I'll tell you, this is the South Horizon region. It is the origin of our Long family. Arrogant? I'll kill you. As the giant demon smashed down crazily, Gu Wuji didn't have any chance to retaliate. He was tightly pressed down by the gravitational air, and seeing the blood above his head continue to decrease, Long Fei's heart started to boil. What level is this Heavenly Hall of Immortals boss at? What could he have dropped if it had exploded? Wow. He should be able to level up several levels in a row, right? Ha ha ha. Long Fei was excited. He had not entered the immortal domain yet. If he could kill the immortal domains rankers, then the experience he would gain. What dropped? The scene was so beautiful that Long Fei didn't even dare to think any further. However, Long Fei did not dare to let his guard down. Giant demons were indeed the giant demons of the seal at the bottom of the evil sound sect, but his strength was not fully unleashed. The seal chains on his body were still there, and Long Fei was still unable to break these chains. If he could break these seal chains, then that would truly be the realm where the great Owl Demon King was unstoppable 3,800,000 years ago. Could he kill Gu Wuji within 1 minute? Long Fei wasn't confident either. However, to be able to crush the high and mighty Tong Tian Fairy Hall Elder to such a state, it was already a great pleasure. 50 seconds. The trolls dealt 50 critical hits. Gu Wuji was smashed like a dead dog, but he wasn't dead yet, and his health was still very high. Long Fei couldn't care less. The giant demon felt great. Now it was his turn to feel good. He directly rushed into the deep pit, and the giant demon also jumped down, standing behind Long Fei. Long Fei stepped on Gu Wuji's head and said, arrogantly, "Are you looking down on my people from the South Horizon region? Is it good now?" According to the bet, Long Fei raised his right hand, bent down, and released the power of the giant demon arm in his right hand, throwing a heavy slap on Gu Wuji's face. Pa! At this moment, many people looked at Long Fei. Tai Hong raged to the skies and said, "That's too presumptuous." Yi was incomparably excited. Ha ha ha. Good boy. Too cool. Who dares to attack the clan elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals? Who would dare? Only our young lord. Awesome. Awesome. The crowd was in an uproar, their fighting spirit even more frenzied. Xianjian sect lord's blood was burning. This is too overbearing. Even though Sidu Hao hated Long Fei, but now he couldn't wait for more. He even couldn't help but admire Long Fei. You're too arrogant, and you dare to show the domineering aura of us South Horizon region's people. This slap felt too good. Gu Wuji's eyes were blazing with fire, but he could not move because his body was completely crushed by the gravitational force. This was no ordinary gravitational force, but a gravitational force that was dozens of times stronger. What was even more crucial was that he was stunned by the giant demon and didn't know how to counterattack. A million-year-old giant demon. His ideas stared at the sleeping dark dragon god, the incomparably huge dark dragon god. Dark dragon god's eyes were filled with anger as he suddenly opened his eyes. In that instant, the power of Emperor Yen Huang rushed into the dragon sallier, and the dark dragon god suddenly roared. Roar. Long Fei raised his blade with both hands. He was no longer him. He was no longer under control. It was the Yen Huang ancestor that was controlling him. His current strength was still too weak, not enough for him to truly wake up Dark Dragon God. It was the Yen Huang ancestor's power that woke him up. In the blink of an eye, the dragon sallier suddenly grew several times larger and rushed into the sky on the back of the blade. Clouds billowed, thunder roared. Ember Dragon God slash. A blade came down, shocking the heavens and earth, sobbing the ghosts with a peerless slash. Rumble. The blade energy linked to the sky, and with a slash, the sky split open, directly striking Tai Hong, who was in the air. Kacha, Kacha. The sky turned dark, was covered by the dark dragon god's huge figure. The moment the blade slashed down, Tai Hong's sword aura was immediately shattered. The powerful sword aura crushed his mind like a tsunami. Rumble. Tai Hong's eyes were filled with anger, and the blade chi imprinted in his eyes. Immortal foundation. Open. A strand of immortal foundation opened. The second immortal foundation opened. It was not until the sixth immortal foundation had opened. It formed into six strongest power of celestial defense. At the same time, bung, the first immortal meridian had shattered. Bung, the second immortal root was destroyed. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth rays of immortal roots condensed and cracked. Its power was extremely strong, and Tai Hong's body was suddenly smashed to the ground. Boom! The ground cracked, and just like a crater where a meteorite crashed into the ground, Tai Hong was completely crushed inside the crater. Blood sprayed out wildly from his mouth in an extremely sorry state. Even Yi Tian, who had rushed down with him, was sent flying by the incomparably strong saber chi. He crashed into a rock 1,000 meters away and vomited a mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. At the same time, his heart was also incomparably shocked. This power, Long family, the true power of Long family. Yi Yi's heart was in turmoil. The Long family's calamity had always been a mystery. However, the power of the Long family was recorded. It was exactly the same as what he felt now, but it hadn't reached the peak of strength yet. The violent sound reverberated through the entire South Horizon region, spreading out from the skies towards the Great Sky Peak. It resounded in the skies above the Sky Marshall Continent, and all of them were emotionally moved. This loud sound caused countless experts to open their eyes. A few of the experts felt their hearts tremble. The power of the Long family? Has the power of the Long family awakened? Who is it? Who is it? Some were trembling, some were excited, and some were afraid. This power swore to the Tianwu continent that the Long family would rise again. At the same time, in a certain corner of the Tianwu continent, in a domain where no one had stepped into for millions of years, a dragon's roar came from deep underground. It resonated with the loud noise in the sky, the roar of a dragon. Chao Tian Peak. When the blade slashed down, Yen Huang Ancestor coughed continuously like an old man who had just passed away from death, swaying back and forth. He was even weaker than when he woke up in Long Fei's body. That remnant soul was like a candle in the wind that could be extinguished at any time. For Long Fei, he gave his all. He didn't hold back at all. Patriarch. Long Fei's heart ached. Yen Huang Ancestor laughed blandly. I am fine. I will go first, rest. Then it disappeared without a trace, as if nothing had happened. If you want to help the Yen Huang Ancestor recover, there's only one way. Kill them. Explode the holy artifact. Long Fei held onto the dragon salyer, leapt up, and directly charged into the gigantic crater, saying, "Go and die for this daddy." Sister-in-law, 1-/ plus health, strongest upgrade system. Everyone was shocked. Long Fei arrogantly roared out. At the same time, Gu Wuji's heart was overwhelmed with shock. At the same time, he rushed out. Chapter 28_8419/23566863. Just a moment ago, when he had executed the searing yellow dragon god / it had already created an incomparably terrifying critical strike. Just a moment ago, when he had executed the searing yellow dragon god / it had already created an incomparably terrifying critical strike. Tai Hong was already left with a little bit of HP. Kill him. As soon as the berserk energy was released, the supreme holy artifact would immediately burst out and be consumed by the ancestor, allowing him to recover. Thus, Long Fei did not think about anything else. All he could think of was, explode him, save the ancestor, save the ancestor. He had never felt such a weak ancestor. Right now, they could not even detect the existence of the Yen Huang Ancestor at all. If not for Yen Huang Ancestor's help, he would have died somewhere in these 3 years. Even though she was his master, he wanted her to be like a grandpa protecting his grandson. If she was in danger, she would have to use all of her strength to protect him. He did not hesitate to use the power within the remnant soul. That was the source of his life. If he used up all his soul energy, he would disappear for good. I have to kill him. Boom, boom, boom. With every step that was like thunder, Long Fei dragged his dragon salyer and leaped into the air, chopping down at Tai Hong with his blade. In this split second, whoosh, a black figure took a step ahead of him, landing beside Tai Hong, and with a leap turned around and landed 10 kilometers in the sky. Boom! Long Fei's blade slashed through the air, his body shot forward, and chased straight ahead. Fuck your ancestors. Ah! In a fit of rage, Long Fei charged forward regardless of everything else. However, but Gu Wuji did not dare to stay. Could feel that this was the power of the Long family, but he could also do the same. Although this type of power was not as powerful as in the legends, it was still incomparably terrifying. If they were to release it once more, they might really die here. Gu Wuji moved in the air and shouted, "Yun Xian, run!" 6 Yun Xian had been paying attention to the situation over here. Upon hearing his master's order, he didn't stop and took a step forward. The flying sword beneath his feet moved, and in the next moment it landed beside Gu Wuji. Ah! Long Fei roared in anger once again, wanting to give chase. However, Gu Wuji and the rest were too fast. It was impossible for the War King to catch up with him in terms of cultivation. He couldn't even fly at all when it was 10,000 meters in the air. Shouted loudly, "Long Fei, don't chase after him." At this moment, someone panicked. Hong Tianjun. As he watched the 6-cloud immortal fly away, he turned completely foolish. He shouted loudly, "Master, Grand Master, bring me. I am a demon slayer, the one you need. Master." A loud shout, Yun Xian also frowned, looking at Gu Wuji. Gu Wuji's eyes were cold as he said, "This is all because of you. Damn you." And then Gu Wuji said coldly, "Since you are a demon slayer, then go and kill the demon slayer. Kill that little bastard Long Fei." Kill Long Fei? Long Fei released the giant demon. How could he kill Long Fei when he unleashed that terrifying power that even he had never seen before? Right now, the thing he was most afraid of was Long Fei. He was so scared that he didn't even dare to show his inner demon. Even now, the inner demon was still trembling from Long Fei's 81 slashes. Did he still dare to kill Long Fei? It was simply a joke. Hong Tianjun looked at Long Fei, who was in the sky, not to mention killing him. He didn't even dare to look straight into Long Fei's eyes. He was simply too scared. At the same time, Hong Tianjun flew towards the other side. "You want to leave?" Li Yuanba became angry. "Did the boss let you go?" Boom! Li Yuanba leapt heavily into the air, and the furious lightning in his hands smashed towards the top of Hong Tianjun's head. "Get the hell down here!" Rumble! Hong Tianjun's body sank. He did not try to defend at all, and the only thing on his mind right now was this: run. The instant he was hit, he leaped again. "Still want to flee?" Boom! Lin Yoshing's water domain bound him down, and with a heavy shout, he said, "Get the hell down here!" Boom! Hong Tianjun was struck down once again. He flew away again. He was crushed down by the Arhut, then flew away, and then was pulled down by the Sky Spirit. He was scared to the point of peeing. 6. If Yun Xian and the rest escaped, would he be able to jump up? The 4 Great King Kong fiercely defended Hong Tianjun. "Try an F** King Move 1. Hong Tianjun kneeled on the ground and said, "For big brothers, please spare me. Everything was forced on me by those immortals. It was all of them." Li Yuanba bellowed, "You dare to snatch a woman from our boss with this kind of strength?" Hong Tianjun immediately said, "I am unworthy. I am trash. I am trash. I am just an ant. Lu Luoshi is your boss. He is his. I am completely unworthy. He was once the strongest person in the South Horizon region. Now, he begged for mercy on his knees, afraid of death." The 4 King Kong were filled with contempt. The more Long Fei chased after him, the harder it was for him to break through. He was not even 10,000 meters into the air. The continuous impact was constantly suppressed by the limits of the War King. Finally, looking at Hong Tianjun, the rage in his heart surged. He heavily descended and stood in front of Hong Tianjun. Hong Tianjun trembled in fear. Her face was pale white. Her lips trembled as she said, "Long Fei, don't kill me. Don't kill me. Lu Luoshi is yours, and the Heaven Sect is also yours. Don't kill me. Just treat me like a dog. And let me go." One day later, the Heavenly Hall of Immortals. "What? Supreme God was furious. The Demon Slayer is dead. Who dares?" Gu Wuji's body was covered in blood, and he did not go to clean up the mess. The anger of the Supreme God was just as he had expected. Gu Wuji's heart turned sinister as he said, "Supreme God is First Elder E." Supreme God frowned. E. He's too impudent." The entire Hall of Immortals was in an uproar. The Elder killed the Demon Slayer. Demonic Slaughterer was the hope of Sky Marshal Continent. To deal with these big shots, that was the only thing they could do. It was not easy for a demon slaughterer to fall in this manner. The anger in Supreme God's heart was exceptionally strong. An elder said slightly, "Supreme God, although Elder E has 6 immortal roots, but his blood lineage was a devil's legacy, and his ancestor is also a heavenly mystery great demon. His appearance in the South Horizon region this time around may have been planned to kill the Demon Slayer." As soon as he finished, all the elders came to a realization. Supreme God also frowned, killing intent flashing in his eyes. And then Supreme God shouted, "Send me the immortal token and send the star spirit hunters. You must find E and bring him to me." As soon as he finished, with a wave of his hand, a celestial token flew out and exploded in midair. It was also at this time 18 streaks of light flew out from the sky above the heavenly hall of immortals. They were all the top rankers in all of Hall of Immortals, the star spirit messenger. Gu Wuji sneered coldly, Just you wait to die. I'll kill you first, then Long Fei and the Long family. This time, I will completely eradicate the Long family from its roots." The Supreme God said slightly, "Elder Gu, Elder Tai, this time, although the two of you did not bring back the Demon Slayer, you have to do hard work and no contributions. You can cultivate in the Celestial Immortal Cave for a year. Recover your cultivation as soon as possible and help my Heavenly Hall of Immortals find the Demon Slayer." Gu Wuji and Tai Hong's expression changed. They were extremely excited in their hearts and immediately knelt on the ground and said, "Thank you, Supreme God." All the elders were filled with envy. In another place, also didn't expect Gu Wuji to invert right from wrong, making him the target of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Moreover, he also knew very well that Long Fei was the real Demon Slayer. The awakening of the power within his body had shocked him immensely. On the way, Long Fei learned more about the Long family from After a calamity, the Long family's experts mysteriously disappeared. What exactly was hidden inside? In addition to Long Quangtian's continuous search in the infernal realm, there wasn't even the slightest result. Was the person who spoke of the Yu Ling Island Lord's words in the demon see his own father? His father was not in the immortal domain. The more Long Fei understood, the more mysteries he felt, and the stronger the secrets of the Long family were. There must be something behind this secret. What is it? Long Fei secretly asked himself. Perhaps only by raising the dragon Salyer to the highest realm can we release the dark dragon goddess. Right. I still have another dragon domain mission and another 6 years or so. If I can find the dragon region and the 10,000 dragons, perhaps the secrets of the Long family will be solved as well. Long Quangtian had once said that the Long family and the dragon Salyer were inseparable. If the dragon Salyer could be raised to perfection, perhaps there would be an answer. However, what was the level of dragon Salyer? How much further away from being a paragon? Long Fei basically did not know, and he did not even find the heart of ancient fairy tree that was needed to level up dragon Salyer. Huff! Long Fei exhaled a long breath and said, "No matter what, I will definitely accomplish all of this." Looked at Long Fei's resolute eyes and smiled lightly. "Don't be anxious. Everything will be answered. Also, don't worry about the matters regarding your blood lineage. As far as I know, your Long family's ancestor also had negative activation to dragon blood. If he could become an absolute expert in the Sky Martial Continent, you definitely could too." Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "Thank you." Long Fei was clear in his heart that he did not care about the matters regarding negative activation to dragon blood at all. However, the Long family's secret was also related to his negative activation to dragon blood. There was a lot to it. The Long family's secret was very deep, but it was also very shallow. As long as Long Fei could find the dragon domain, he would be able to know about all of this. Half a month later, Yi's idea moved, controlling the flying sword, and landed on a hillside. At the bottom of the hill was a small town. The town was not big, but the crowd was dense. Dao said, If we enter from this town, we will be entering the God's Soul Mountain. Look at that huge mountain in the distance. It's the Heavenly Soul Peak. The legendary sex gods' soul herb grow at the edge of the mountain's cliff, but no one has picked them up yet. Long Fei took a look at the Heavenly Soul Peak in the clouds. Even though they were tens of thousands of meters apart, Long Fei could still feel its valiance. A shocking impact. They entered the town. Have you heard? A fairy beast appeared on the Heavenly Soul Peak. As long as we kill it, we will be able to obtain one immortal foundation. You just heard about it. Haven't you noticed that there are strangers in the town these days? These people are all here for the fairy beast. So many battles. I heard that there's a battle going on in the God Emperor Academy. However, they did not consider these civilians at all. In their eyes, there was no need for ordinary people to live. This was the world. So what if he's a student of the God Emperor Academy? They were all thinking about themselves. As for the weak, he could only be crushed like an ant by the giant wheels of this era. He had no dignity and could only talk about human rights. In the South Horizon region, this immortal domain was even more prominent. They did not act. While sipping tea in the box with incomparable satisfaction, Ji Hao looked at those poor people madly fleeing on the street, occasionally letting out loud sounds of ridicule and laughter. This is the student of the God Emperor Academy. In another place, the small battle squadron of the Dark Academy was more or less the same. Seems like Lin Long has already made his move on the fairy beast. Big brother, In a small forest, a man asked. The man in charge smiled and said, "No rush. Big brother, the poor people of this town. This is the immortal domain. They are not going to save us. What's the use of us doing that? Furthermore, we need to conserve our strength to deal with the fairy beast and Lin Long. As for these poor people, whether they die or not has nothing to do with us. It's all the same. No one cares about the weak. And then there was Long Fei. He rushed madly towards the entrance of the town, the sand and dust on the mountainside billowing, the beasts blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Long Fei clenched his fists. Long time no see. He was excited. In the game, what he liked the most was monsters attacking the city. This was because this was a level dungeon, and the drop rate was at least twice as high. This must be a great feeling. However, this was just a small town. The walls were made of wooden fences, and the first wave of impact was probably not enough to stop it. Once the demonic beasts had charged into the town, they would inevitably drive straight in. The innocent commoners in the town would definitely suffer countless casualties. Long Fei's mind raced. What do we do? What should we do? I don't care. Long Fei walked over to a guard leader who was standing on top of the fence and asked, "You are the defense army here." His head was drenched in cold sweat, and his body was trembling uncontrollably. If not for the tiny bit of responsibility he still had in his heart, he would have escaped long ago. He looked at Long Fei and said, "You are only a third-stage immortal. Hurry up and flee. This is not a place for you." Long Fei asked, "How many of you are there?" Chief Bodyguard didn't want to pay attention to Long Fei and said, "Brat, do you know what this is? This is the first time I've seen a demon beast attack a city, but I've heard about this countless times. Do you know what the consequences are? It was all killed. Now get the hell off the fence." Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Goblin Beast for obtaining 100 EXP, 1 point for Power of Celestial, and 1 point for energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Goblin Beast for obtaining 110 experience, Power of Celestial X1, and energy values X1. The system beep crazily sounded at this moment. Although it was not killed by Long Fei himself, it was killed under his command, thus he could still gain experience. However, after the first beep, A strange notification sound came from the system. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for entering Immortal Domain. Experience conversion. True breath conversion. In that short moment, not only did Long Fei control the system himself, the system also transferred over. Player Long Fei rank. Level 3 Immortal Experience. Power of Celestial. Full. Note 1. 5 million True Breath S converted to 150 Power of Celestial points. Spiritual Root. None Technique. Toting Skill. Normal. Dragon Chop. Ordinary. Yama Punch. Normal. Lucky Value. 20 points Affability. 1 point were Pet. Ice Fire. God. Shall by God. The system had changed. Many things had changed. Long Fei's cultivation technique had all become ordinary. In the South Horizon region, all of his cultivation techniques were divine level, but in the immortal domain, they were unable to reach the divine level just like his cultivation. In the South Horizon region, he was a war king, but the realms were different here compared to here. His war king was only at the 3rd level of the immortal realm. However, a lot remained. The things that Long Fei had comprehended did not weaken. Even the war beast Shao by Ice and Fire was still a divine beast. These things were all secondary. Before he entered the immortal domain, he already knew this. The thing he wanted to do now was stop the monsters from slaughtering the city. Ding, ding, ding. The experience bar kept ringing. Those burning demonic beasts were almost all killed, and the speed of the demonic beast's charge also slowed down. Cheers erupted from the fence. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Every guard was laughing excitedly. This was the most important battle in their lives, and also the most exciting. Brother, you're really great. Ha ha ha. Our god's Soul Town does not know how to thank you. Chief Bodyguard looked at Long Fei with incomparable gratitude. Long Fei was also happy. The remaining beasts were all roaring in fear. They held back and feared, but they did not retreat. Long Fei had a bad premonition and said, "Captain, holding on to the demon beasts, we haven't continued attacking. Call for our brothers to rest up quickly." The chief bodyguard was startled, then said, "Those demon beasts have been beaten to the point that they don't dare to come here anymore. They must be scared. They won't come here again, right?" Several guards also looked at Long Fei and said, "If they're afraid, they definitely won't dare to come." Long Fei said, "That's not right. They did not continue with their attack, but they did not retreat either. They should be waiting. The next wave of attacks will definitely be even fiercer. Quick, get people to prepare." The ominous premonition in Long Fei's heart became stronger and stronger. He had never encountered a situation like this within the game, but this was, after all, not a game. Instinct told him. The reason why these demon beasts did not attack was because they are waiting. Chief Bodyguard's face turned cold. He immediately ran out and said, "Quickly recuperate. Quick, quick, quick." The guards didn't dare to slight their captain even when they saw how crazy he looked. However, stopping a wave of demon beasts' attacks had made all of them incomparably excited and confident, as if they were no longer afraid. Many people in the town had returned. He blocked the demon beast attack. When did the guards of the god's Soul Town become so strong? What's going on? Everyone had questions in their hearts. Many people stopped running and turned to look at the other side of the town. Could it be that the experts from the God Emperor Academy made their move? If they were to make a move, they might be able to withstand it. In the box, Lin Long's brows tightly knitted together and asked, "Who blocked the demon beast's attack?" Number 3 ran into the room and said, "Boss, the guards of the town are blocking the beast's attack." "Impossible. A horde of demon beasts is so strong. How can the town's useless guards withstand them?" Lin Long asked coldly, "Other than those guards, is there anyone else?" "The situation is too chaotic. There are only the town guards and a kid that we've never seen before on the fence. That brat's cultivation is merely at the 3rd grade of the nascent immortal stage. It definitely has nothing to do with him. There's one thing for sure. It's not the Dark Academy. Lin Long frowned. An unfamiliar kid. Lin Long's expression was a little cold, and he said coldly, "Brat, you dare to ruin my good plan, I'll kill you." At this moment, boom, roar. A burst of furious roars erupted from the depths of the forest. Lin Long's eyes shook and said, "The fairy beast is angry. Hee hee. I want to see if you can withstand it this time around." Chapter 28_8419/2356868. If not for Long Fei, this town would have been destroyed long ago. Long Fei was their benefactor. And then Chief Bodyguard kneeled on the ground heavily, and all the guards on the fence also knelt down. Immediately after, the relatives of the guards under the fence also kneeled down, all of them in front of Lin Long and the others. Chief Bodyguard said, "I beg you, please help us." He didn't even kowtow. Is he begging for help? The second brother said playfully. Chief Bodyguard heavily kowtowed again and said, "Sir, please do me a favor and save him." No one was willing to kneel, but he really had no other choice. A kowtow without sincerity. Try it a few more times. The second brother continued. Bam, bam, bam. Chief Bodyguard kowtowed 3 times and said, "Master, you can even make me doze off. Please save him now." Wow, you want to doze off? I have never said that anyone can get his head broken. Today, I must see for myself. As long as you can sleep your head off, I will definitely make a move. The second brother laughed out loud. He was completely playing with the Chief Bodyguard. Make a move? He had never thought of taking action to save Long Fei. One of the guards was unhappy. He stood up and scolded. "Aren't you guys bullying others too much? Is someone like you even fit to be a student of the God Emperor Academy?" Suddenly, the second brother's eyes were gloomy and his fingers moved. A surge of power of celestial gushed out from his fingertips, directly grabbing onto that person's throat, and coldly said, "If I'm not worthy, then it's not an ant's place to judge." Crack! With a clench of 5 fingers, the guard's neck was broken, and his head was twisted 180 degrees. Extremely cruel. Everyone was startled and pulled out their weapons in unison. The second brother laughed coldly. "What is it? You want to fight us? If you want to die, go ahead. Why God Emperor Academy? They were gods, emperors. In a place like this, they were paragons. They had never taken a single glance at these poor people because they did not even have the qualifications to look at them. Chief Bodyguard suddenly shouted, "Everyone calm down." The second brother laughed in disdain. "Come on, why don't you dare?" "You ants dare to be so impudent in front of me? If it wasn't for the fact that I have something important to do today, all of you would be dead." Incomparable arrogance. At this time, Lin Long took a step forward. His feet lightly moved like ripples, and said, "He destroyed our plan. Not killing him is already a blessing he gained from 8 lifetimes of cultivation." Chief Bodyguard knew that the people from the God Emperor Academy were here for the fairy beast, and could not help but ask, "Your plan?" The second brother sneered. "Our plan is to bring the fairy beast into the town, and then kill it." A little girl said, "The fairy beast was brought into the town. What about us?" "No way. No way. No way." Again, ding. A prompt also appeared in his mind at that moment. Long Fei moved. Multiple shadows 16. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, Long Fei's 16 bodies rushed out. Moreover, every single one of them had a gash in them, as this was a powerful breakthrough. In the past, The clone would be destroyed with just a slight attack, but now that he had a gash in his body, although it was only a short 100 points, it was a very powerful breakthrough. Kill. The 15 clones madly slashed out. Knocking back all the demon beast punches also caused Long Fei to gasp for breath. At this moment, Long Fei moved his body, moonlit step. Whoosh! They did not fly high and were only a few meters high. However, as Long Fei landed heavily, he finally broke out of the demonic beast's encirclement. He's not dead yet. Chief Bodyguard was stunned. All the guards became excited. Even though he was surrounded by a group of demonic beasts, he did not die even after 10 minutes. Furthermore, he managed to escape. How strong exactly was a third-grade immortal? How is that possible? Long Fei ran crazily and shouted at the top of the fence, "Prepare to attack! Prepare to attack!" Chief Bodyguard saw that Long Fei was getting closer and closer, and the herd of beasts behind him was also getting closer and closer. "Brothers, get ready!" Stone-throwing machine, light the oil barrel. Shoot! Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The oil barrel in the sky smashed down like a meteorite. Long Fei became excited. "Grandson, come again to kill me." As he spoke, he was also constantly dodging the flames that exploded. Ding, ding, ding. As Long Fei ran, the experience bar sounded out, and the experience bar started to surge. At this moment, Lin Long's expression was extremely ugly. He had never thought that Long Fei would actually be able to escape, as if he had suffered some kind of great humiliation. "Boss, if the beasts cannot break out of the town, the fairy beast will not fall into our trap. What should we do?" The second brother asked in a low voice. They had set up a formation in the middle of the town. They had to bring the fairy beast into the array to kill it, and give them time to plunder the immortal foundation from the fairy beast's body. Fairy beast was not something that could be killed. He needed time to extract the immortal foundation from his body. Lin Long's eyes slightly tightened and said coldly, "There's no rush. This trash is only at the 3rd level of the nascent immortal stage, and the guards in the town are also not a match for the fairy beast." The second brother nodded slightly. OL3 asked, "Boss, what if they block it? If the fairy beast did not charge into the town and were driven away by them, all of our efforts would have been in vain." "That's right. We must succeed this time. Otherwise, how would we be able to reach God Emperor Academy?" The second brother's face turned cold and sneered. "You want to trick me into going against the fairy beast? Brat, do you think I'm as retarded as you? You don't dare to come. If you don't dare to come, then don't lie in front of Lousy. You're nothing." Long Fei disdained. At this moment, the fairy beast suddenly moved. It was also at this time a demonic beast was burned to death. A system notification sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Monster Beast for obtaining 110 experience, Power of Celestial X1, and Ability X1. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, currently at the 4th level of the Immortal Realm. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. A box Sin's mind shone with a golden light as he opened the box. At this moment, ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 comprehension, 100 points of lucky value, 100 points of charm value. His comprehension ability increased by 100 points again. Long Fei's mind started to circulate faster and roared in his heart, "Let me see how strong your 300 comprehension points are." He bellowed. Long Fei bellowed. Multiple shadows. Boom, 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 boom. Covering the sky and covering the earth. They were all Long Fei. Tens of thousands of clones. Table of contents. His life was on the line. Long Fei became excited. "Boss, explode." Chapter 5. Tell me something. My wife has about 10 days left before her due date. Maybe she will be born one day. If the sea breaks suddenly one day, she should go to the hospital to have a baby with her. Let me know in advance. The sea will try its best to keep it up and up. 8_84 19/2356871. Comprehension 300%. Comprehension 300%. In the beginning, he had only been able to do his best to create 16 clones, but now it was like a dam releasing water. It could not hold on at all, and 10,000 tons of water spurted out. At this moment, something popped out in Long Fei's mind. It was so dense that it covered the sky. They were all Long Fei. The scene was like a sea of people. The guards on the fence were confused. The 5 from God Emperor Academy were stunned. The 5 from Dark Academy were also shocked. What was going on? Chief Bodyguard was excited. Good boy, you're awesome. He's simply too handsome. He's so unruly. Ha ha ha. There's no need for anyone from Scum Academy to help. He alone is enough. Long Fei's avatar that suddenly covered the sky gave them a sense of anger. The haughty and arrogant attitude of the 5 men from God Emperor Academy made everyone feel uncomfortable, especially the guards, who were suppressing their anger, but none of them dared to say anything. The chief bodyguard shouted, "Brat, beat this fairy beast to death, ruthlessly, ha ha ha." At this moment, Lin Long frowned. The second brother immediately asked, "Boss, what do we do?" What kind of cultivation technique was he training in? They actually have so many clones. OL3 said anxiously, "Boss, let's not worry about that for now. The most important thing right now is to kill the fairy beast and take its immortal root. What if this kid gets there first?" The 4th elder began to grow anxious as well. "Let's cripple this kid first." Fairy beast was equivalent to an immortal root. The immortal foundation was power. It was the divine power that changed one's physique and talent. It was something that every immortal could attain at a higher level. The 10 realms of immortal domain required 10 rating immortal roots. One realm required level 1 immortal root. Without the immortal foundation, one would never be able to step into a higher realm. Simply put, to break through the spiritual level, you must either cultivate a 2nd-level fairy route or kill a fairy beast to obtain a 2nd-level fairy route. Only by fusing with a 2nd-level fairy route can you break through the spiritual level. Thus, to break through an immortal domain, it was simply too difficult. If one's talent was not enough, they could only make a breakthrough through killing fairy beast. However, fairy beast S were limited. Every single level 1 immortal route was incomparably difficult, and the further one went, the more difficult it would become. Even an expert of Heavenly Hall of Immortals would not be able to break through without a high-grade immortal foundation. Gu Wuji only had 7 immortal roots. He was an expert of the Yuan Xian realm. It was too difficult. The immortal foundation determined everything. Lin Long's group of 5 were still in the nascent realm. It was not easy to find this fairy beast. They must have it. Suddenly, a blade slashed at the fairy beast's head. At that moment, the fairy beast let out a wail, and its head split open. Celestial light shot out in all directions, and at the same time, the amount of HP left on the top of his head instantly reached 0. The system sounded out. Long Fei moved his idea and immediately shouted, "Release the berserk energy!" Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tier 2 Fairy Beast, for obtaining an experience point, Power of Celestial, 120 points, energy values, 1 point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 2nd rank spiritual roots. Do you wish to fuse them? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining ground rolling technique. Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for obtaining the burrow technique and releasing the skill. Congratulations to player, Long Fei, for obtaining second rank Fairy Beast armor. Ding! Congratulations to player, Long Fei, for leveling up, currently at the 5th level of the Immortal Realm. Buzz. The energy in Long Fei's body suddenly increased. His experience, tank, and power of Celestial S also changed. He exclaimed in his heart, "It has leveled up again." Awesome! At this moment, all the clones vanished. Unable to hold on for too long, Long Fei did not bother about it. Instead, he opened the system and checked, second level fairy route. What is this thing? Item. Second level fairy route attribute. Earth description. A second grade earth attribute spiritual root. 4 earth attribute cultivation technique. An increase of 30% has been comprehended by earth attribute power of celestial. Description 2. Earth Immortal Root is one of the 5 elements immortal roots. The ability to fuse the 5 elements immortal roots has increased by 200%. 5 elements immortal foundation. When Long Fei saw the comprehension power, he couldn't help but become excited. Understanding was too important. The idea moved and immediately said, "Fusion." Ding. System notification. Unable to fuse, player's level is too low. F*CK, your grandpa. Long Fei scolded him. What do you mean the level of the players is too low? This old man is also a 5th grade immortal. All right. Long Fei looked at the requirements to fuse the immortal foundation and muttered, "Damn, second level fairy route can only be used with the cultivation of the holy 9th rank, and it's even the peak realm. What the heck?" At this moment, cheers came from the fence. "We won! We won! Ha ha ha! We won! We defended against the demon beasts of assault! Ha ha!" The town erupted in cheers. Everyone felt their hearts drop. Some were happy. Some people were furious beyond belief. Lin Long rushed out and quickly rushed to the fairy beast's side. He looked around carefully, his eyes glazed over, and his body couldn't help but tremble a little as he said, "There's nothing left. The immortal foundation is gone. No more. Gone, gone." It was as if he had lost his soul. All their efforts in this half-month had been in vain. With the death of the fairy beast, their spirit roots had disappeared. At the same time, Lin Long's heart was filled with anger. He stared straight at Long Fei with killing intent and shouted sinisterly, "Why do you want to kill it? Don't you know he's a fairy beast? You idiot, why did you kill it?" Long Fei's gaze tensed up and said, "If I don't kill him, everyone in this town will die. I was just about to ask you, as the student of God Emperor Academy, why didn't you help? Is this how God Emperor Academy is like?" Boom. The aura on Lin Long's body suddenly exploded. With a step forward, the strength of the holy 9th rank smashed over. Shwa. A palm struck down. Long Fei's eyes moved. He wanted to dodge, but too fast, too fast, too fast. For someone with a cultivation at the 5th level of the immortal realm, the death of the holy 9th rank was simply too powerful. There was no way to block it. However, Long Fei's reaction was not slow. His body could not break through the level shackles, but his reaction was still as fast as a god. Without waiting for Lin Long's attack to land, Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Underground drilling!" The skill of the excavator. His body abruptly sank. He drilled into the ground, and 3 meters away, his body shot out from the ground, and he took a bite out of the mud. Puff, puff. Long Fei spat out the mud and said, "Damn!" Lin Long's strike failed, and his expression became even more dark. He stared at Long Fei and said, "Brat, you ruined my good plan today. I will cripple you for sure." Long Fei's mind trembled. The difference in strength before the South Horizon region was not so obvious. But here, if he did not use any external force, Even a level 1 Long Fei could feel that it was extremely difficult, and the holy ninth rank could crush him to death. Equals semi/floating life plus. Rank was even more important in immortal domain. However, Long Fei's personality was bad. He looked at Lin Long and said, "If you have the guts, then come. I want to see who's the cripple." Giant Demon, Chapter 28_8419/2356873. If you don't like it, then do it. If you don't like it, then do it. Cripple your father? Let's see if you're strong enough. Long Fei was not afraid at all. So what about the geniuses of the God Emperor Academy? At this moment, the corners of Lin Long's eyes twitched. His killing intent rose as he let out a cold snort. "Kill him!" The four of them moved. Immediately, it attacked Long Fei. Long Fei's idea sank and rushed into the broken 18 levels of hell, shouting, "Giant Demon, it's time to wake up." Roar! This was the first time that the 18 levels of hell had produced such a loud roar. The troll woke up. The 18 levels of hell, one level, one demon. The first gravity troll. His eyes were filled with anger as he shouted, "I've woken up, Master!" Long Fei looked at Lin Long and the other two, snorting coldly, and said coldly, "Slag, don't be scared to the point of wetting your pants. Let me see who's the cripple today." Under normal circumstances, Long Fei did not want to summon his giant demon beast. This guy had caused too much of a commotion. It was bound to cause unnecessary trouble. This is the immortal domain. If he managed to provoke a few more heavenly hall of immortals rankers, the result would be disastrous. However, being bullied like that, Long Fei only said one word, "Fuck." Right at this moment, the giant demons were about to be summoned by Long Fei, but a figure blocked his path. The moment his figure landed, his aura slightly fluctuated. Boom! The five of them immediately stood on the spot, unable to move. It was instantly crushed. Who? An elder of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals, an expert at the pinnacle of the immortal domain. Other than the Heavenly Hall of Immortals S, only a few people could withstand the power of a Grade 6 Immortal Foundation. This was only a tiny bit of suppression. If it was at full power, Lin Long and the other three would probably already be lying on the ground. Yi's cold voice sounded. "As a disciple of the God Emperor Academy, you don't even know to protect the people. Not only do you not know, you even kill innocents." The five of them trembled. The aura was releasing was too terrifying. The five of them couldn't take it. Lin Long said with difficulty, "Since you know we are the God Emperor Academy students, then you should show some respect and defend my God Emperor Academy. I want you." Not waiting for him to finish, landed in front of Lin Long, glared at him, and said, "What do you want?" Lin Long's face was extremely pale. She could not utter another word. Long Fei grinned and said, "Senior, let me deal with this kind of person." Finished. Long Fei stepped forward and fiercely slapped him. God Emperor Academy students are amazing. Pa! A resounding slap landed on Lin Long's face, the 5 handprints on his face clearly visible. Everyone was shocked. The guards on the fence were even more shocked. Lin Long was beaten so badly that stars appeared in his eyes. The holy 9th rank was completely crushed, and he could not move at all. He didn't even have the least bit of defense. Long Fei looked at Lin Long and laughed. "You want to compete with me in arrogance? You're still too young." Lin Long laughed coldly. "Brat, Not waiting for him to finish. The dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands rested directly on his neck, and he said, Come, continue to speak. Let me see if one of you still continues to act arrogantly." The sword aura of the dragon salyer wrapped itself around his neck, and the lifelike dragon had stared at him, feeling extremely uncomfortable. At this moment, Lin Long's mind went cold and instantly kneeled down and said, I don't dare anymore. I beg you to spare my life. Arrogant! The dragon Salyer in Long Fei's hands pressed down and said, I've never seen someone that is so arrogant before. What's wrong with God, Emperor Academy? His heart turned cold. Just like the scythe of the god of death on his neck, he was incomparably afraid. Arrogant? Long Fei had never been afraid of anyone. If it wasn't for Yi, he would have definitely killed these people. Yi said softly, compared to being able to act brazenly and recklessly just because you think you're a student of the God Emperor Academy, if I see something like this happening again, I won't let you off so easily. He saw that it was about time. After all, he was a student of the God Emperor Academy. Moreover, he was considering for Long Fei that if he were to offend too many people in half a year, Long Fei would be participating in the God Emperor Academy's examination, which would be extremely disadvantageous to him. If Long Fei killed Lin Long today, then he wouldn't be able to enter the God Emperor Academy, even if he found out about this matter. Disciple doesn't dare. I would not dare. The five immediately knelt down and kowtowed. He snorted coldly and said, Scram! In that instant, Lin Long's group of five rolled and crawled their way out as if they had received amnesty. He was too strong, too strong. They didn't dare to take revenge. But Long Fei, Lin Long remembered Long Fei's look in his heart. If there was a chance, he would make sure to repay it 100 times over. Chapter 3. Table of Contents 8_8419/2356875. Awesome! Awesome! Seeing the 10 people from the God Emperor Academy and the Dark Academy running away in panic, Long Fei shouted out in excitement. At the same time, everyone on the God's Soul Town were cheering. He was even more excited than if he had killed a fairy beast. Hero! 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 Chief Bodyguard shouted first, and all the guards followed along. In the end, the entire town started to call Long Fei a hero. It was Long Fei who saved their town. The last restaurant, the best wine. He grabbed a jar and pushed. Long Fei also grabbed a jar of wine. A collision. Ha ha ha. Ha. The two raised their heads and drank. Soon, half a jar of wine was finished. He said excitedly, satisfying, I have not drunk so much in a long time. Brat, you're too awesome. Ha ha ha. He was happy because Long Fei was crazy enough that even when facing the God Emperor Academy, he did not show the slightest bit of fear. And then there was that. This wine was strong enough. Yi Dao said, Do you know what kind of fairy beast you have killed today? Long Fei said, Isn't it just a fairy beast? Yi Dao said, That's a fairy beast of the second-level fairy route. Immortal Domain's cultivation method is slightly different from the South Horizon region. The Immortal Foundation determines everything. Do you know how difficult it is to comprehend a single Immortal Foundation? It's like you've ascended the heavens, yet you kill me with a single slash. Ha ha. That blade was so cool that even a Tier 2 spiritual root was destroyed. Ha ha ha. He laughed maniacally. Once the fairy beast dies, the Immortal Foundation would disappear. He also believed that Long Fei did not obtain the second-level fairy route. Of course, other than Long Fei himself, no one knew that he had obtained the second-level fairy route. Long Fei asked, Senior, what is your cultivation level now? Yi smiled bitterly and said, I only have 6 immortal roots, which is also the golden immortal realm. I haven't comprehended the 7th one for a good 50 years. 50 years was a long time. His cultivation had not improved at all. If one failed to comprehend the seventh immortal foundation, they would be unable to break through the shackles and enter the Yuan Xian realm. It was just like the power of law. It couldn't be broken. 6 immortal roots, Long Fei slightly said. Then why not choose a 7th stage fairy beast to kill? Hunting fairy beast should be a bit easier than comprehending it, right? As long as one had grade 7 immortal roots, he would be able to break through the Yuan Xian realm. Yishao laughed. Leaving aside how strong a 7th rank fairy beast is, just the scarcity itself is so small that it makes people's hair stand on ends. Starting from a 5th rank fairy beast, they are like a treasure formed from the essence of heaven and earth, extremely rare and hard to find. Even if we can find them, it is hard to kill them. Even a 7th rank fairy beast is hard to deal with. Don't just look at how you killed a fairy beast today. This is just a low-grade fairy beast that did not use their immortal roots power. When it comes to high-grade spiritual roots, they are destructive existences. Fairy beast was the strongest being in the immortal domain. A 5th stage fairy beast could attract countless of strong warriors to fight for it. As for a 7th stage fairy beast, that was even more incredible. Long Fei was quiet for a moment, then asked, "Senior, what is Gu Wuji's cultivation?" "He must kill Gu Wuji. And there was also Tai Hong. These two were too dangerous. If they didn't kill him, they would destroy the Long family clan. Moreover, if it were not for the 2 Yen Huang ancestor S not being severely injured, the 2 of them had to be killed. They had to be killed. Otherwise, they would not be able to quell Long Fei's anger." Yi's expression shook, then said, "Long Fei, the 2 of them are Heavenly Hall of Immortals' elders, the top ranker of the immortal domain. I know you want to kill them, but I want to remind you, before you reach the fitted realm, you absolutely should not look for them. The strength of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals is countless times stronger than what you can imagine. They are elders of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Making a move against them is equivalent to making a move against the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. No one can bear the consequences like that." He was an elder of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals, so he was very clear about the power of the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Too strong. Long Fei asked, "Senior, Gu Wuji is at the 7th realm of the Immortal Foundation Yuan Xian?" Yi nodded. "He is at the 3rd stage of the Yuan Xian, and Tai Hong is at the 9th stage of the Golden Immortal stage." "Understood. Just know their levels." Long Fei thought, "I will definitely take care of those 2. There hasn't been a single boss that has managed to escape from me." "Long Fei, you escaped a calamity in the South Horizon region. The next time we meet, I'll definitely kill you too." Yi Dao said, "Brat, don't you dare act recklessly. The Heavenly Hall of Immortals is above the God Emperor Academy. You must join them and become a demon slayer. As long as your identity as a demon slayer is confirmed, even Gu Wuji and Tai Hong would not dare to touch you. Understand? Demon Slayer is the best protection you can rely on." "Demon Slayer?" Long Fei didn't know what the Demon Slayer was, and asked, "Senior, what kind of person can be called a demon slayer?" Unsure heaved a sigh of relief one by one, then said, "1 month ago, the laws of the Sky Martial Continent were destroyed, and the laws of the world lost their balance. The giant demons from millions of years ago seized this moment to escape, and at the same time, the Supreme God received a revelation from the heavens that the appearance of the giant demons required the help of the demon slayer. He was not a supreme God. He did not know the deep meaning behind it either." Smiled faintly and said, "You will know once you become a student of the God Emperor Academy, so you must definitely become a student of the God Emperor Academy. Do you understand?" He believed that Long Fei was the first demon slayer. However, it was only because he believed that he had to go through all sorts of tests to get the recognition of the Supreme God that He was called a demon slayer. Entering the God Emperor Academy was the first step. Only when Long Fei becomes a demon slayer would he be able to get protection. So Gu Wuji and Tai Hong didn't dare to rashly touch him. Yi had already thought about it after coming to the Sky Soul Cliff this time. When Long Fei finds the God's Soul Herb, he would bring him back to the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals to take the Demon Slayer examination and gain the recognition of the Supreme God. The entire God's Soul town was celebrating. It lasted until midnight. Long Fei returned to the courtyard that the chief bodyguard had arranged for him, laid on his bed, and fell into a deep sleep. He would enter the God's Soul Mountain tomorrow. In his dreams, Long Fei muttered, "Ancestor, don't worry, I will definitely find the God's Soul Herb to save you." In the yard next door, Yi stood in the courtyard with his hands behind his back, saying, "Come out, Star Spirit Messenger." Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 rays of light shot down from the sky like shooting stars, and the 3 of them stood in front of Yi. One of the messengers said, "Elder Yi, I have received orders from Supreme God to bring you back to Tong Tian Hall of Immortals." Yi frowned, then laughed at himself. Seems like Gu Wuji has really reversed the situation to think that even Supreme God was blinded by him. http:// And then Ye's eyes turned cold. His expression changed as he said, "What if I refuse?" All of a sudden, the courtyard was filled with killing intent. Chapter 48_8419/2356876. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.